There are 7 K-pop idols that perfectly represent the 7 deadly sins, and we'll be talking about all of them starting with lust. Who's a K-pop idol to better portray lust than SHINee's Taemin? Lust is often defined as an excessive craving for pleasure and is commonly associated with sensual sins. Even though the industry is known for being quite tame, with most idols tackling topics like love and confidence through their songs, Taemin has gone in a different direction as his solo songs are darker and more sensual. As a fan beautifully put it, through his performances, Taemin creates a sense of taboo desire. His allure comes from this edge of breaking rules. For example, when he's performing a song like Move, even though he's fully clothed, it feels like you're seeing something you're not supposed to see. Songs like Want, Thirsty, and Sexuality feature ever bolder choreography that make you feel drawn to him, yet he never engages with anyone else in a sensual manner on stage. It's common for him to explore the clash between guilty pleasures and his religious beliefs and how this conflict affects his mindset. Even for his most recent album, Guilty, Taemin was inspired by Georges Bataille's book Eroticism, Death, and Sensuality, which explores the themes of taboo, sacrifice, and in the Guilty teaser, Taemin reflects the ideas from Bataille's book by combining alluring, daring, and eerie elements. This technique blurs the distinction between what is provocative and what is unsettling. In general, his songs and music videos are so meticulous and well-crafted, full of hidden meanings and references, so we suggest taking a deep dive into his discography because you certainly won't be disappointed. Moving on to the less serious one, we can all agree that the quote-unquote sin of gluttony fits BTS Jin the most, as he's known to be the foodie of the group. In Roman Catholic teachings, gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins and refers to overindulging in food and drink, which applies to Jin. Initially, he actually made blog posts called Jin's Cooking Diary, where he taught fans how to cook various dishes like rice cake soup, smoked duck, and ribeye steak. Then, in May 2015, Jin launched his very own mukbang show titled Eat Jin on V Live. The show featured Jin enjoying various dishes while chatting with fans. Initially, it was a fun vlog where he attempted to eat large amounts of food, sometimes even in one bite, but it quickly turned into an interactive experience with the fans over a meal. His passion for food often surprises people. He once told 2AM's Changmin that he had eaten 7 to 8 meals in a single day, saying that he's the type of person who will keep eating until somebody stops him. Even more shocking was Jin admitting he once ate 30 plates of sushi in one sitting. On a separate occasion, someone asked Jin if he would rather share one ramyun with 7 people or eat 7 ramyun by himself, and Jin chose to eat all 7 ramyun himself, declaring that food wasn't for sharing. However, despite his dramatic statement, Jin loves cooking for others, especially the BTS members and even his fans. He wouldn't be a true foodie if he didn't. Park Hyo-chan is a name that rarely gets mentioned in a good context, so we're going to also associate him with the sin of greed. Greed means having an excessive craving for wealth, fame, attention, power, or anything that boosts one's own selfish desires, and looking at Hyo-chan's latest activities, you can obviously see why we chose him. Hyo-chan has been basically banished from the industry after being involved in a series of scandals. To start with, Hyo-chan faced serious accusations in 2016 and 2017 when 4 women came forward with allegations of non-consensual activities. Although he was cleared of these charges, his troubles didn't end there. In 2019, he was suspected of using illegal substances and attempting to hide it by coloring and shaving his body hair. These efforts failed and he was found guilty, receiving a 10-month prison sentence and a 1.4 million won fine. Due to these legal issues and his agency terminating his contract, Hyo-chan announced his retirement. Despite an unofficial ban from music programs, he was also later officially banned by broadcasting agencies from any activities in the South Korean entertainment industry. Additionally, he faced further legal issues, being accused of evading 490 million won in taxes, which usually would mean that his career in Korea would be over. Hyo-chan, however, kept trying to win the hearts of the public. However, since Korean netizens didn't quite want to see him in the country, he was traveling to various places like Thailand and Japan. Mostly were appalled at his audacity to show his face back again after all his crimes, but Hyo-chan appeared unbothered, even attempting to have a career in Thailand. According to rumors, Hyo-chan was using his then-girlfriend's wealth and status to try and get back into the entertainment industry. He was the official model for his partner's newly launched skincare brand business, and there were talks that he was planning to move there once they get married. If that doesn't scream greedy enough, let's talk about his failed attempt at holding a fan meet. In December, Park Hyo-hwan shared that his older brother Hyo-chan would celebrate his 20th debut anniversary with a fan meeting and dinner show in Tokyo, Japan. The Rebirth fan meeting was a 2-day event, taking place on February 9th and 10th, with 2 sessions each day. After that, on February 11th, there were 2 year-end dinner shows at the Kahala Hotel and Resort Yokohama. It wasn't the fact that Yo-chan was holding a fan meeting that made netizens angry. After all, the Burning Sun men had all walked free and were trying to get back on their careers in other countries. They were angrier at the ridiculously high ticket prices, as the meeting cost around $160 while the ticket to the dinner show was priced nearly $350. Mind you, this came at a time when Yo-chan was dealing with a dispute with the National Tax Service over more than $465,640 in unpaid taxes, including capital gains tax, dating back to 2016. He was also required to pay a similar amount to his former agency for breaching the court's provisional injunction order. So, considering the circumstances, it's no wonder that many criticized him for announcing the fan event while ignoring the tax issues, feeling as if he was trying to profit from his remaining fan base. If he was really just interested in seeing his fans, then he would price the tickets lower, but he didn't, which is why we chose him as the idol to represent greed. The whole situation gets even more ridiculous if you take into account that back in 2019, Yo-chan had a press conference to discuss his substance use allegations. He denied everything and then swore to retire from the industry if he was found guilty. He was found guilty and yet still went on to hold fan meetings, with high-priced tickets and without ever addressing his current problems. As for Sloth, it was difficult to come up with a name because the idol industry in itself makes it hard for people to be lazy. Since sloth can be described as a lack of interest or a regular unwillingness to make an effort, the few years before Hyun Sung's departure from Beast fit this definition to the T. In the years leading up to Beast's rebranding as Highlight, Hyun Sung, who chose not to join the new group, was obviously already 1 foot out of the group and wasn't trying to hide it in the slightest. This specifically happened during 2015 and 2016 as Hyun Sung was bashed with multiple accusations of being lazy on stage and for having a bit of an attitude. The initial concern that something might be wrong emerged when Hyun Sung didn't show up at the Seoul Grand fan meeting in September 2015. It's not unusual for idols to miss events due to their busy schedules, but Hyun Sung's absence caused a stir because the company didn't give any prior notice to fans. The situation worsened when he was spotted on an alleged date during the fan meeting, even though the official reason for his absence was stated to be personal reasons. One of the moments that attracted the most hate towards him was his 2015 performance at the Super Soul concert. At some point during the concert, Hyun Sung was seen standing behind the members, with his face covered by his hat and not giving any reactions and barely moving, leading people to believe that he was falling asleep while performing. He also fell asleep during an interview, which he also received a lot of criticism for, and was generally giving little to no energy during Beast performances. Even though Hyun Sung was known to fall asleep everywhere he could, people could tell that he had just given up performing at the time. Just a few months prior, when Beast won first place on Show Champion, Hyun Sung didn't join his fellow members in front of the stage but stayed in the background without even removing his mask. In the end, he ended up leaving the group, which was something everyone had expected after seeing how he seemingly didn't bother making an effort anymore. What matters is that he's a lot happier now as a soloist and even willing to make amends with the Highlight members. For Wrath, there's no better idol to portray that feeling but BTS's Yoongi's alter ego, August D. Wrath is intense anger or hatred, often with a desire to get revenge, and if you have heard his earlier songs, you can hear the fury dripping through. Unlike Yoongi's real personality, August D, he's brutally honest and unfiltered, full of anger towards the world and people who had wronged him. Even the name came from a place of anger, as he explained. I came up with the name because I had this hate, this anger inside me. I couldn't control that anger. If you know anything about Yoongi, then you would know that he actually started getting interested in rap way before he ever debuted as a BTS. When he was only 13 years old, he started writing songs and working with MIDI, and by the time he was 17, he worked at a record studio as a part-time job. He began composing, arranging, rapping, and performing, even making a name for himself in the underground rap scene as Gloss. But when he joined BTS, much of his past work was overlooked, and both he and Namjoon faced criticism from the South Korean hip-hop community for becoming idols and selling out. So August D was harsh and aggressive towards his critics, including those who targeted him, his fellow members, and his fans. He talked about the negativity the band faced from the media and other K-pop groups, as well as the intense pressure to succeed in the competitive industry. The music and lyrics of his debut mixtape, August D, are all very raw and personal, as it feels like this is his way of releasing his pent-up emotions and finding a way to express his justified anger at a world that tried to bring him down. However, as Yoongi himself has said, his anger and rage has sizzled down over the years. He explained, "During D-Day compared to D2, people said a lot of that rage was gone, but I don't think that can be helped. I don't think I need to bring back the emotions I've already dealt with. He said the same thing when he appeared on IU's Palette, where he stated that August D was born out of anger, but he no longer felt that same intense rage. Since he's grown older, Yoongi asserts that his anger has diminished, and he's let go of the resentment he once had. You can also tell that by his music. In the past, it was fueled by that anger, but now it reflects a more relaxed and mellow state. By definition, envy is a deep, unending craving similar to greed and lust. It's the feeling of sadness or resentment toward what someone else has or is, which is what we would use to describe former Big Bang members Seungri's feelings towards G-Dragon and the other Big Bang members. Even though his name is mostly associated with the Burning Sun scandal now, older fans of the group can definitely tell you that there was something off in the dynamic between Seungri and the other members. It's widely known that before the Burning Sun scandal broke, the four of them had expressed concerns about Seungri and his new friends in interviews. They also openly mentioned that they weren't spending time together anymore, and G-Dragon even got angry when Seungri didn't invite his then group members to his birthday party and instead invited a bunch of strangers. They also alluded to Big Bang being for a lot and even made a group chat without him. However, there was something else that was off about the dynamic between the five of them, and it was the jealousy and envy that Seungri held towards the other members, especially G-Dragon and T.O.P, who were the most popular. An example of this that fans brought up was an old variety show clip in which T.O.P discusses the fact that Seungri refuses to call him Hyung, even though he was older. While this may seem like it's nothing, a fan recalled a rumor they had heard from older fans of the group, which said that Seungri had always been jealous of T.O.P being the visual of the group. In addition to that, Seungri once shared that he felt jealous when girls approached him but then asked for G-Dragon or T.O.P's number instead of his. He also complained once on a show that the cameraman would be filming his fellow two members instead of him even if it was his part, saying that he would put no effort in singing because the audience would only be focused on G-Dragon. So his envy of the two wasn't really hidden. In fact, he once wrote in a letter to fans, "To be honest, I have treated you well, but most of you just like GD or T.O.P. I am jealous. I am easily jealous. I'm starting to feel from less attention." To this day, Seungri brings up either Big Bang's name or G-Dragon's to bring attention to himself and to get people talking about him about something that's not related to his crimes. In Roman Catholic theology, pride is often seen as the most serious of the seven and is described as excessive self-love or arrogance. However, it's not always a bad thing, especially in music, since there are tons of hits where idols brag about how successful they are and how much money they have, and if we're being honest, these songs are almost always bops. Blackpink especially have some pretty fun songs about enjoying the goods and luxuries they have worked very hard for. Of course, they don't even make for half of their discography, but they're the ones that get the most attention. For example, in Do 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 Do, they rap about fat checks and Jennie buying someone's entire bucket list as she is laying on a bejeweled tank. At the start of Pink Venom, Jennie shows off her Chanel bag and later raps about diamonds and private jets, acting like it's no big deal, while Lisa name drops Celine, a brand she was once the global ambassador for. Shut Down, the last song they have released as a group, is also a fun song that has the members flexing their riches to their haters and critics, all while letting them know that their words and the group's hiatuses aren't going to diminish their fame and popularity. When it comes to solo tracks, Lisa is the one who often raps about the thrill and luxury of wealth. For example, in her song Money, she sings about enjoying her riches and spending it on herself, while in her latest single Rockstar, she goes on about her lavish lifestyle and her success. If we're being honest, if we had even half of their money or popularity, wouldn't we also like to sing about it as much as we could?